Back then, it was just trees, wetlands, and a narrow creek that flooded every spring. The county required a small earthen dam to regulate runoff before they'd approve any development downstream. I paid for the engineering, the permits, the inspections, everything. The dam wasn't decorative. It wasn't optional. It was flood control. Then the HOA arrived. At first, they were polite. Welcome packets. Rules about trash bins and mailbox colors. I wasn't even part of the HOA, I lived outside their boundary, but that didn't stop the letters. You benefit from home-managed infrastructure. Unpaid fees will result in enforcement. I ignored them. A month later, a notice appeared on my gate claiming my dam violated HOA guidelines and posed a liability risk. I emailed back copies of county permits and hydrology reports. I even highlighted the part that said, removal of structure may cause downstream flooding. No response. Instead, the HOA president showed up in person with 2 board members. They stood on my property line, arms crossed, staring at the dam like it offended them. That thing isn't approved, she said. It's approved by the county, I replied. You don't have authority here. She smiled. Well, see. A week later, I received a final notice, unpaid HOA fees, enforcement scheduled. I sent one last email. If you touch that dam, you will cause flooding. You will be liable. They didn't answer. On a Tuesday morning, I heard engines. By the time I reached the creek, a rented bulldozer was already pushing into the dam. A man in a reflective vest waved paperwork at me, an HOA work order, not a county permit. I called the county inspector immediately. He told me the same thing 3 times, slowly, like he couldn't believe it himself. They don't have authorization. The dam was gone by noon. Water rushed through the gap, faster than I'd ever seen. The HOA president stood nearby, filming with her phone, smug as ever. Problem solved, she said. I didn't yell. I just documented everything. The first rainstorm came 10 days later. Nothing dramatic, just steady rainfall overnight. I slept fine. The HOA didn't. By morning, photos flooded the neighborhood group chat. Soggy lawns. Standing water where sidewalks used to be. A few basements with damp corners. The HOA blamed clogged drains. Then the second storm hit. This time, water didn't just pool, it stayed. Streets glistened days later. Lawns turned into mud. Retaining walls leaned at strange angles. A civil engineer, hired by a homeowner, not the HOA, posted a comment that vanished within minutes. Lower water table destabilization possible. That's when the cracks appeared. Literally. Driveway split. Fence post tilted. One house near the bottom of the slope had doors that wouldn't close anymore. The county arrived a week later. Then the state. Then the insurance companies. I was contacted last. Not by the HOA, but by an attorney representing 12 homeowners and 3 insurers. They wanted to know if it ever warned the HOA about the dam. I sent them everything. Emails. Permits. Reports. Photos of the demolition. The unanswered warnings. The HOA president stopped posting updates. Emergency drainage trenches were dug, but it was too late. The soil had shifted. What used to be stable ground was now saturated and unpredictable. Engineers called it a progressive subsidence event. Home values dropped overnight. Insurance policies were cancelled or rewritten with exclusions. Then came the lawsuit. Turns out demolishing a permitted flood control structure without authorization isn't just an HOA violation, it's a regulatory nightmare. The HOA was found negligent for unauthorized construction activity, environmental damage, and downstream property loss. They were ordered to pay for a replacement dam. On my land. Built to modern standards. At triple the original cost. With a permanent easement acknowledging my ownership and authority. The HOA president resigned before the first settlement was finalized. I watched the new dam go up from my porch. Bigger. Stronger. Fully approved. And this time, nobody questioned who was in charge of the water.